it seems like women just don't want me. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what the reason is, because not every woman is the same, obviously. Just like not every man is the same. We're all individuals, we're all different, we're all unique in a lot of ways. But it seems like women legitimately see me and say, he's nice, but I think I can do better. And that's been my experience for a long time. Now, I don't think that there's anything about me that is inherently unattractive, right? I think I have a fine-looking face. I've got a head full of hair, and I imagine I will for a long time. You know, I'm in the process of losing a little bit more fat and getting a little bit leaner. And I do think that that will help in just the purest sense. But, you know, like, women don't want me. And I understand part of that is because I don't act like a fuckboy. I don't really know how to, I guess, make a woman excited, you know, when it comes to, like, saying certain things or behaving a certain way. I don't. I'm very unsocial. I'm very antisocial, to be honest. I love one-on-one conversations. I love actually talking to a human being and you know, like, getting to know them and shit. That's good. And that goes for men and women. Like, I enjoy having legitimate, meaningful conversations with people. It's something I really like, you know, but I'm not a big party guy. Okay? If you see me in a bar, I will not be talking to people. I will not be going out of my way to interact, to have conversations. If someone wants to talk to me, that's great, you know, and I'll entertain it for a bit. But I'm not a party guy. I tried going to clubs. I tried going to bars. Hell, I even tried concerts for a while. None of it works. For me, at least. I'm not saying it won't work for you, whoever's watching this video. I'm just kind of venting a little bit about my lack of success with women. Now, I understand that part of my lack of success may have to do with the fact that I just don't have a lot of social circles. And that's just the truth. I don't. I'd like to have more social circles. I'd like to. Even if I'm not really like the life of the party, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with not being the life of the party. That's cool. You know? I'm fine with chilling in the corner. That's always been a part of my life that I've been content with. But I just cannot find a social circle. I'm either working constantly, and when I'm not working, I don't know anyone. Church doesn't work for me. It doesn't. Even if we're not thinking about just like the actual reason to go to a church, socially, it doesn't work. Okay, you need more than a random hour-long, once-a-week freaking meet up with people to have an actual social acolyte. You cannot rely on a 5-minute morning cup of coffee talk with some guy you see once a week. That's not enough time to build a meaningful conversation or relationship with someone at all. And when I say relationship, I'm talking about, you know, just a platonic friendship. You know, I'm not even talking about women at this point. I'm just talking about having an actual social circle. Like, getting talked to for 45 minutes by a pastor whom you may or may not agree with. Very oftentimes you don't. You do not agree with. It's just, it doesn't work. And you're not getting anything meaningful socially. Frankly, you're not. You are getting the bare bones, and it's not good enough. I, as a man, need a social circle, and I've really kind of realized this over the last year or so I've been home. You know, I take for granted the social structure that the Marine Corps gave me. It gave me a lot. It gave me a lot of purpose. It gave me a lot of daily things to do, daily interactions with people, you know, and like there was a lot of problems. There was a lot of neurotic nonsense with the Marine Corps, but at least you had something, right? I find myself in my time home, I've got very little social interactions, and I don't really know how to find new ones. And the thing is like, it's not like I'm a 40-year-old guy who's divorced, you know, like I'm 25. I'm 25 years old, for Pete's sake. And I just can't seem to find the time to socialize with anyone, or even really find people who want to socialize with me. Going back to the premise of this video, I can't seem to figure out why women just don't want me. And if for some reason you're a woman watching this video and you're like, oh, that's not true, yada, 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 that's great, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Not to be disrespectful or rude. I mean, you are a human being watching this, obviously, but when you're not actively in a person's life and you're not actively a part of their day-to-day experience, then you may as well not even exist to them. Don't misunderstand my words. I'm not trying to be cold or callous. I'm just telling you the reality of my situation, okay? And I am thinking that this is a lot of guys' personal take on life. Now, I think things will change for me once I start college. I think things will change for me, you know, once I move. I think things will change for me a year from now, whatever. But I mean, like, I've been living by that mindset for years now. I keep telling myself things will get better, or things will change when I go here, or when I go there, or when this happens, or when that happens. And things haven't changed. They have not. They have not changed for the better. And very often, times they've actually just kind of gotten, you know, worse, because nothing's happening. Life is just going by. And the truth is like, logistically, I'm 25. If I want to have kids, or if I want to increase my chances of having kids, you know, before I'm in my 30s, at this point, you know, I'd have to meet a gal, get to know her, at least for 6 months before I, you know, like, and I'm talking about in a romantic sense, right? I'd have to get to know a gal for at least 6 months romantically before I actually knew whether or not I wanted to marry her. And to be frank, I wouldn't even necessarily marry her until another 6 months had gone by. So a year, typically, at least. And if we're not going to have kids, you know, until we've at least gotten through our honeymoon, like that's like 2 years from today. Do I really want to wait until I'm almost 28 to have kids? I thought I would be having kids earlier in life, and it just hasn't happened. Now, I can take solace in the things that I know that I've done wrong, or I can be aware of the things that I've done wrong from a strictly social perspective. But I mean, like, what am I supposed to do differently? I don't think I'm ugly. I really don't. You know, and maybe there are things about me that could be improved upon physically, or emotionally, or characterly. You know, a guy can be physically attractive, but if he's got unattractive character traits, or he's emotionally mature, or whatever the heck that means nowadays, you know, that could be a turnoff. And I get that. You know, the same is true for women. A woman can be drop dead gorgeous, but I promise you, if she causes you a lot of strife in life, she loses her attractiveness very quickly. Or a girl could be, you know, very physically attractive, but she wouldn't necessarily be like, I could see this lady being the mother of my children type attractiveness. You know what I'm saying? You know? Not to mention, like, even if there was a woman who was interested in me, it does not seem that there are women whom I'm interested in that are interested in me. You know, the women that are interested, which I don't see them, I never hear about them, though I'm sure they exist, they're not attractive at all to me. And, it's usually because they're overweight. And by overweight, I'm not saying like they could lose 10 pounds. I'm saying like they could lose 30 pounds. A lot. And people think that that's a harsh thing to say. And it is harsh, but it's true. There's nothing really attractive about a person who's obese. I would not expect a woman to be attracted to me if I were obese. If I had a unsightly amount of fat on my body, there's nothing attractive about that. It's unhealthy. But it seems like there are women who are interested in me, but they're not really attractive. Or they're significantly older than me. And that's a thing we don't even necessarily talk about nowadays. Is women's not being aware of the fact that they are on a clock when it comes to being able to have kids safely and healthily. That's a real thing we don't talk about all that much. Not to be hard or harsh, I just want to be telling the truth. I think it's important to tell the truth. And that if you don't make a habit of telling the truth, you make a habit of lying. Not from a moral standing position, but just from a position of practicality. You want to be helpful, not dishelpful. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to have the answers here. Maybe things will get better, when I'm older, and maybe things will get better, when I'm in college, but I'm really thinking that they're not. But I'm hoping I'm wrong.